Hello everyone, I'm Chester44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire. Last episode, we went into the Temple of Barath, where the priest in charge welcomed us and asked us to please get something from the hanging sepulchres here. Which is apparently a quest that is incredibly difficult, like more than 4 levels above where we are. We're gonna go for that at another point. Aside from that, we also spoke to, well, we got a new companion who we'll speak with later, and we have the Spire of the Soul Seers here, which is where a bunch of animancers are practicing. And there was another quest there. I'm just curious what level it is. It involves teleportation. Let's see. I'm gonna need to go back for that. I completely forgot. I'll deal with that later. Is it a higher level? Okay. I did manage to do the Lantern of Gone one. I'm sure I'll find another one. Oh, I'll need to go back to Port Maj, I guess. At the top of the Hylian Temple in the... Oh, that's where the Animancers are. Where is the... Ah, there it is. It is a couple levels higher, so we'll probably need to come back to that. Anyway, with that, it's time to go to the next location. Let's go to Pariki's Overlook, a new location we haven't investigated yet. Let's see what we can find. And see what's going on in here. We do have a few things we can do in this area. So, let's see. Yolfir's Raiments, Luminous Bathhouse, oh dear. Overlook Cuisine, Marihi's Metalwork, Kuitzli's Exotic Herbs, The Dark Cupboard, Emaita's Refreshments, Archimir's Manor, I think that's something for a quest, Water Shaper's Guild, and Serpent's Crown over there. Alright, I think we're gonna go to this first, make our way around this way, see what we can over here, and then make our way up towards the Water Shaper's Guild and to Serpent's Crown. And that'll be the path we take. Oh, abandoned dog. Rasper, let's see here. You are more likely to enemy attacks are more likely to graze, and your party is more effective with healing spells and potions. It's a thing. Alright, into the Raiments. Yes, into the Raiments. We're literally climbing into someone's Raiments. I don't know. Patterns, both local and foreign, adorn these bolts of fine cloth. Alright. And there's Yolfir.
If you find yourself in need of comfortable garb, I'm happy to oblige.
The dwarf tips his head in a curt, professional manner. Ah, you're a tailor.
I've been known to rip a seam here and there, patch some shredded gear back into shape.
His expression shifts, turning sour.
Thought I was an armorer, did you? Assumed that my tree stump limbs and barrel chest lend themselves better to the forge than the needle?
Forgive me, I meant no offense.
If it's armor you're after, Marihi will set you up. She's got a knack for metal.
He points out the door and jerks his head to the east. Well, let's see what you have. So you've got Mantle of the Seven Seas, Burglar's Gloves. That actually does seem very useful for mechanics work. 3 Trolls Stitched, okay, and various clothing, including Ngati's Girdle. I don't really have anything to sell aside from that. Well, also this. But, okay, thank you very much. Simple merchant made sense. Let's move on. What are we gonna find down in this direction?
All right. right. Which one of us am I thinking of now?
You be thinking of the Watcher.
That's 10 in a row. That's some talent you got.
Aye, the talent of noticing who you be glancing at before you ask me who you be thinking of.
The Luminous Bathhouse. Alright, let's see what's in this bathhouse. It's something, at least. Ganor. You're greeted by a tall, carefully composed man. The crescent moon in the center of his forehead glows faintly. Up close, the careful tailoring of his opal-adorned robes and their immaculate cleanliness speak to a deep well of vanity.
Welcome, welcome. I am Ganor, owner and proprietor of the Luminous Bathhouse. If there's any way I might make your visit more comfortable, you need only ask.
He clasps his hands and bows, a playful smile tugging at the corners of his lips. What do you have for sale? We have the Moistened Cove for 1 constitution and extra healing. The Bathiel Drop for extra health restored and max power pool. And the Abyss for longer effect duration and area of effect. I can order someone, retrain someone, or change who I have with me. That is also an option. I mean, just for the sake of looking at them, and one of them does need to be leveled up. Yeah, give me a moment. I'm just gonna take you 2 out. Okay, you are getting an upgrade. You are a chanter, that's right, you're effectively a bard. So I'll go ahead and give you bluff, and sleight of hand makes sense. I like the idea of chanters being the summoners, so that's what I'm probably going to focus on with him. I never really understand how they work aside from that. Combat focus. Two-handed style. Thing there. Oh, what's that? Many chanters prefer to work... Backlines. They prefer toe-to-toe combat to power their invocation. Okay, so he's more of a melee fighter than anything else. I suppose it makes some sense. And of course he does have spells. Paralyzes enemies. That actually sounds very useful. I mean, some of these buffs would actually be very good. I'm gonna go ahead and take that for the sake of it. And there, you're upgraded. Can I speak to either of you? You don't really have things to talk about, do you? You do. Hello, Idwin. Idwin looks up from a book, her carmine eyes tightening on you.
Or should I call you the Watcher of Cadnua? I confess that title. Something of a mouthful.
I take it you've heard something of me.
This and that. Your involvement in Duke Avar's hearings on animancy and the aftermath brought you to the attention of animancers across the Reach.
Well, you can call me Laniara.
How very informal of you. I think I would prefer something a bit more decorous. Captain it is, then.
Her chin raises slightly as she peers through her spectacle.
When you took me aboard, you neglected to mention that you were in pursuit of a rampaging deity.
Oh, I'm sorry. I suppose I should have told you what was going on.
I appreciate the apology, but it's unnecessary. The Blue Colossus may be one of the defining events of the age. I count myself fortunate to bear witness to your investigation. Speaking of, let us return to it, yeah?
Anything else to say, maybe?
Question, Watcher? Greetings again. Do you require my expertise?
So, I'd like to ask about your condition.
My condition?
She scowls.
If by that you mean the results of my experiment upon the sea, I have no interest in discussing it at this time. Or likely ever.
Well, if you change your mind, you can talk to me.
I appreciate that. But I assure you that I will not.
I wanted to ask about your work as an animancer.
My studies? I cannot promise a dissertation, but I'll happily discourse upon the broader strokes.
What is your specific area of study?
You haven't read my work, then?
No, I have not.
As an apprentice, I focused on, and then helped discredit, the phrenological approach. At the time, it seemed more difficult than I thought it should be.
At the time?
Some of my colleagues had a vested interest in a model of the world that included an inherent hierarchy of kith.
Oh, this sounds familiar to something that existed in real life, I believe.
That some kith made more worthy receptacles for souls than others, based on the shape of their brow or the length of their ears, was apparently an idea too tantalizing to abandon.
Yes, especially if you happen to have many of those things that make you seem superior. Also, I am very aware of the irony that we're taking a very serious and scientific discussion right now in the middle of a bathhouse with two nude people standing right at the edge of the pool.
Afterwards, my interest turned to the theoretical, before shifting a few decades later to the study of parapsychological inertia.
Psychological inertia, as in people thinking the same thing over and over?
Close.
She nods appraisingly.
Parapsychological inertia. The tendency for some souls to gravitate towards familiar locales or engage in behaviors exhibited from past lives. From there, I moved on to work in metamortality, the scientific study of souls over lifetimes and the cycle of reincarnation.
That would be where I'd be involved.
Which brings us to the present.
And what do you hope to do with what you learn?
You set the sled before the dogs. Before making decisions regarding what should be done, we must first understand what is. Anything else is a dream in the dark.
So, what do you hope to learn from your studies?
The truth, of course.
Smiling, she opens her palms to you.
I'm sorry that I have no simple answer for you. Embarking on inquiry with an agenda. That is how mistakes get made.
Her arms crossed, Idwin idly taps her elbows. So you're entirely without bias?
Not at all. But I admit them. The truth. I'm sorry, embarking on
Is that how you
inquiry
ended
with
up
an
dead?
agenda.
She exhales through her nostrils, little more than a quiet sniff, and shakes her head.
A pleasant diversion as always, Captain. Shall we return to work?
Okay. I'm not done
Greetings
discussing.
again. Do you require my
Wanted
my
to ask
studies?
about your
I cannot
work.
promise a dissertation.
Any idea how Aethys
but
is
I'll
moving that
happily
statue
discourse
across the
upon
sea?
broad-
She laughs, a flat palm covering her open mouth.
I could theorize, but given how little I've observed of him, it would be irresponsible of me to do so. It must require incredible energy, though. Staggering amounts of soul essence. And can Audra truly be so flexible? Why does he not crumble? Whatever he is, however he accomplishes it, perhaps we can discover together. If the discovering doesn't kill us.
And what's so important about Luminous Audra specifically?
That depends on who you ask.
She shakes her head.
Generally, Audra conducts soul energy. Luminous Audra also stores it, however. Is it simply a worse conductor getting clogged by essence? Or is this indicative of a specialized function? Unfortunately, greed stymies inquiry. Rauatai and the Republics grind every ounce they find down into bath salts. Of course, Captain.
It's enough for now, except it's not. There's still more
Captain,
conversations.
Do you require my expertise?
How did you end up in the Valian Republics?
It was neither so random nor so strange a thing as your question would suggest. In a word, animancy. The Republics take the most progressive attitude towards the subject, and thus they attract its foremost scholars, among whom I count myself.
And did you enjoy the Republics?
Very much so. Though I imagine you capable of finding someone much better suited to telling you of them. I spent most of my time in laboratories and libraries.
Well then tell me of the laboratories.
In a way, your ship reminds me of them. A dozen kith from every corner of Aora, working towards a common goal, while your crew pursues Aethys across the sea. Ours pursue the future, each chasing our own dawn.
And tell me of the libraries.
I admit bias, but they are very likely the grandest in the world.
A faint grin lights her wan features.
Imagine great domes rising above your head, shelves along each wall stacked high with tomes, as if the building itself were built of bound pages. They were the true treasure of the republics. The collected histories, dramas, and comedies of Old Valia. The most advanced arcane theories of Adir. The most ancient liturgical texts of Anguith. And the most advanced treatises on animancy.
And has anything interested you besides studying?
Many things. A strong dark tea, a comic play, the song of a whale.
So you're not entirely one note.
The soft resistance of paper to quill, or fabric to needle. Discovering what's just over the horizon.
And that's going a bit back towards studies.
There exists things in this world beautiful and wondrous both. One only needs leave the land to find them. Speaking of, let us see what the horizon holds, yeah?
Think I can talk with you a little bit
Captain,
more.
do you require
What
my
do you make of our
expertise?
journey?
I admit to excitement, curiosity. I cherish the opportunity to explore, to test my wits against ancient ruins and vicious wildlife. Most ships discourage such avocations.
Alright then. Well, let's see what we have here. So you're already wielding your fine poleaxe and your leather armor, and you have a regular rapier and a Valian frock coat. We're gonna need to get you some better gear at some point. I'll give you an amulet of health so you have something, but yeah, we're gonna need to get you some better gear. As for character, I didn't really look at you much. You're a mountain dwarf. We know you're a skald. Extra chance on melee weapon crit to gain things. And non-offensive invocation abilities cost more, while offensive ones cost less. Ah, okay, that's what it means there. As for you, since I made you a rogue, you've got backstab, which is going to work out. That's the blessing from Bareth's Blessing. Various abilities there, which I suppose we'll see more of. And as for reputations, she's not on there. Which means she's not a standard established character, she's a supporting character. As far as I can tell. Noted. Alright, well then. If you don't mind...
Of course you would. Just speak with the steward near the stairs. He will make certain you are treated well.
Right, I can adjust this. You gone, you gone, you win, you win. Except, thank you very much.
Sure.
So we can talk up there for Babs. And yeah, I should not be looking closer there. Let's move away from the naked people.
Allow you to absorb the powers of the dead.
You are too morbid, my friend. The Adra Ganor uses has been blessed by the gods, and it is their blessing that empowers you.
And I just noticed the water elemental in the middle. Amreo, who are you?
Is this your first time to the baths?
An old man stretches his arms over his head and yawns, making a show of displaying his moistened physique. I haven't been in the water yet.
The cost is high, but so are the delights. I might have the skin and bones of a retired scarecrow, but the waters bring youth back, where it counts.
He studies you from under a lowered brow as his knees begin to drift apart. You genuinely believe I needed to hear and see this?
Excuse me?
Go admit to the steward you're treating this establishment like a brothel. He hangs his head and winces as onlookers begin to slyly observe your exchange.
I'm sorry. That was wrong. The waters have gone to my head.
He swallows and glances toward the steward, the color leaving his face as he summons his courage. Yeah, that wasn't exactly the smartest thing for you to
What do you
do,
mean?
now was it?
I hope we haven't spent too much time in the baths.
A young woman takes your measure wearing a concerned frown. It's fine. I don't work here.
I see. My thanks for clearing that up.
In any case, we hope you enjoy your time.
Her companion subtly tips her head to shoo you away. What brings you to the bathhouse?
I am helping Herwina to conceive. She came
Oh.
all the way from the Deerwood, and I will see that she returns with arms laden with young.
Seinu grins her way.
After the Hollowborn crisis, I wanted no child of mine born in those blighted lands. This place is a miracle. Every day I emerge from the baths as a new woman, and my first child will be as strong as an Adra pillar.
She looks to Seinu with a bright smile. Well, good luck with that.
My thanks. And luck to you on your stay here.
She smiles. Her companion simply nods. And the bathhouse steward.
The cost of enjoying the bathhouse's unique offering is 1,000 copper per session.
The bathhouse steward crosses his arms and smiles. His look holds an invitation, but a warning too. Why so much?
A prudent question.
He draws himself up to his full height and puts his hands behind his back.
The bathwaters are infused with hand-refined Luminous Adra, which promotes a holistic balance of the humors. Because of Luminous Adra's remarkable qualities, it is also a significant investment to both supply and maintain.
That would explain it.
Ganor may tell you more if you're curious. He is something of an amateur alchemist, in addition to being a businessman of remarkable skill and insight.
Next, he'll tell me Luminous Adra grants the Bather eternal life.
Would that it were so. Ganor would make good money, and perhaps I would receive a raise, yes?
When have you ever known men such as Ganor to share their spoils?
You, I like. We see eye to eye on many things, I suspect.
He lets out a bark of laughter.
A small discount for you, friend, for making me laugh. 900 copper.
Thank you, but I'll pass for now. Alright, what have we got on the upper floor of the bathhouse? Since that's somewhere we can look as well. Maybe there'll be something interesting. Bathhouse occupant, but I can loot something from here.
Get out!
Okay, I'm leaving. No one in this one, though. Anyone in this room? Nope, I can loot this. Alright, and if we go out the top floor here, let's see if there's anything of note on top of the bathhouse. Who knows, there might be.
Poste Nago. You have truly put your foot in it this time.
Noah, a forsaken cat. You move more quickly in combat, and your party's attacks are less likely to miss. Not a bad one. Jeez, stop.
Why not?
And it did sound like someone down there was having some problems, so I guess we're going to go and investigate and see what they're dealing with. We will have other things that we need to do with back in the main area, which we'll go back to eventually. Alright. Let's walk quicker so we can get down. And I'm not going to go out that entrance, I'm going to go out the entrance I came in. Bye-bye, naked people. Alright.
Poste Nago. You have truly put your foot in it this time. Adotella, you go to visit the Luminous Bathhouse, yes?
Perhaps. Why do you ask?
My satchel. Like a fool, I left it inside. My ship is due to sail from Nekataka with the next high tide. If I do not find it, my Kasita will surely throw me overboard. Nella, I cannot swim.
A look of horror spreads across his face.
I would go by myself, but the guards, they bar the doors to me without my Kasita present. They think I am a thief.
He stares at his feet, his hands in anxious twisting knot in front of him. Why can't you ask your casita to retrieve it then?
I would rather her not discover my incompetence.
His eyes dart to the side as if looking for something or someone just outside his vision. An understandable concern. He bites his lower lip, uncertain whether or not to take your words at face value. I could help you find it.
Gelade, you mean it? Agrasima, Agrasima, I am in your debt.
The air of misery suffusing him lifts for a moment. His eyes go wide and he grins. You notice a light sheen of sweat on his upper lip. He shifts his weight from foot to foot and stares at you intently.
There is, one thing. Madiko, how could I have forgotten?
He tugs at the collar of his shirt as if he's suddenly much too hot.
If you could, do not open the satchel. The contents are... The information is...
He searches for the word.
Proprietary. You understand?
On my honor, I will not open the satchel.
When I first saw you, I knew you were a trustworthy soul. I knew.
He clasps your hands in his.
Please, when you find the satchel, meet me at Peddler's Canal in Queensberth.
Peddler's Canal? Interesting choice, but okay. I think we can quickly dive in here and see if we can find it.
Your exchange with Amrio was observed. Such behavior is my responsibility.
Huh.
I've tripled his rates until he learns to conduct himself.
Do you know a boy named Degnos?
Casita Vetta's servant? The irritating one? Yes, he was here tending her just a few days ago.
Ganor waves his hand dismissively and rolls his eyes.
He tried to sneak into one of my rooms and told me a pathetic sob story when he was caught. I had the guards toss him out on the street.
Into one of the rooms, which means he's probably upstairs. I mean, that's probably where it is. So let's take a look upstairs. Where else? Oh, I think I see where it is. Degnos' satchel. Return it to him at the Peddler's Canal in Queensberth. Which, I mean, fair enough. We will be going back down there eventually. Soon enough. I'm sure. Udine. Oh, we haven't spoken with you. Who are you?
I see you brought your pain, but you need come to ease it. Pity.
A venerable elf sits beside the water, her creased and spotted skin slightly flushed by the heat. Numerous scars mar her skin on face and torso alike. Her eyes open and their sharp gaze focuses on you. Pain? I have no pain.
Aye, if you say so.
The elf's eyes examine you as a physician might, probing but impersonal. What brings you to the bathhouse?
It eases my pain. More than that is an awful long yarn, and then Tadlickly.
I'd like to hear it.
You may be finding the tale familiar. I fecht in the broken stone war some 2 centuries gone by now. I left the woods of a deer for the eastern reach. I claimed to seek to protect our colonists, but in truth, I sought the glory of battle.
She sighs and touches her brow.
Glory were nae to be had. Truth be telt, I hold luckier than most. The Orlans o' Ayr Glanfath wielded blades that sheathed spirit as easily as flesh. Some of mine fellas were slaughtered body and soul.
That is a hell of an accent, I have to say.
Come again? I don't quite follow your meaning.
You speak of the Mind Hunters, Glenfath and warrior ciphers.
Aye, that I do. And a downright vicious bunch they are.
And what happened to you?
One weird o' the will of the gods one. A farmer near a Boots log home invited the soldiers for dinner. 'Twas hairst, and the crop was rowdy. She and her man devised us a braw and gusty feast. Deer pie and salmon, a stew of cabbage, carrots, and potatoes, squash roasted with pine nuts, and the sweetest honey bread I ever tasted.
A weak smile spreads her mouth.
The Glanfathans riled the animals. By then we caught the trick, so the captain bade the farmer's family stay within. We skipped into the necht, approached the thick swine, and the arrows began to fall.
The smile is faded. Go on. She exhales a long, thin sigh.
Ah, the shelter folk. Hunters and Kempers bred aimed their arrows true, and 2 of us fell immediately. The Orlans rashed us then, small and shady, visible only by the violet flames that lit their blades. We drank it that firm in blood, both sides. In the end, only I remained, standing in the farmhouse door, holding mine innards in, waiting for another cocksfeather to come and finish the work. I only lived because of that farmer. She sewed me up, fed me till I had health enough to stand. She said she owned me, but...
She shakes her head.
I think we both conned that we brought the trouble upon them with our presence. The raiders had been too many a slecht a simple farmhouse.
Your wounds trouble you still.
The pine bothered me little in mine youth. I fought ye. I set flames to black trees. I took arms again, the uprising at New Dunreed. After that, little welcome remained me in the new Duke's Kintra, and I travelled northward. Yet with age, the old wounds show new death. By my count, I've suffered 18 arrows and half again as many stabbings. That I yet live testifies to either my stubbornness or that of the gods. I ranged for years seeking a balm for the growing pine. Drink helped for a time, svev for another. Now, only these baths, infused with Adra, dull the agony.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Aye. Thank you for listening. Few day. Unless there's anything you need, please, let me to mine water.
Alright. Farewell and thank you, Undyne. Or Udine, not Undyne. Undyne is someone else. Alright. And with that, I'm gonna have to end this episode here. I didn't expect an entire episode to happen in the bathhouse there, but that's what happens. Next episode, we'll take a look at what we got in the next areas over here. Till then, I am Chester44, also known as Fly. That is Laniara, Adair, Joti, Aloth, and Seraphin. This has been a Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, and I shall see you all next time.